Good morning. It is 9 o'clock on Wednesday morning. So here I am with Norma Talks. And today is basically we're going to be looking at September and after that I just got a little bit of announcement to make, bring you up to date on some things. Um, I am thrilled to look at this month of September. Now, the one thing I have with doing it live, which I like doing because I get it done complete, is that when we show the picture, it turns it the wrong way round. So, in other words, the Queen of Pentacles, which is on this side, is really the number one card. I'm going to go this way. So it's like reverse for you. I tried last month to change the symbology around and it didn't seem to work. So I'm just going to go ahead and take a look at this. But when I have it laid down in front of me as well. And I looked at this and I went, wow, this has some really good things in here compared to what we've had for the last 2 months. So I'm going to put this up so that you can follow me, even though it's kind of backwards. So we start off with the Queen of Pentacles, and that's like now. So coming into the beginning of September, and followed by the Fool. Now, one of the things I like about this is that the Queen of Pentacles is contemplating and re-looking at everything. I just want to make sure this looks good. Is that and everything is there, a little bit of a limitation, but not much. But the Fool is the faith and moving ahead. So as we go to, I think about the 7th of September, there is this sort of optimism about things. Now I keep hearing, that there's all sorts of things coming along. People are saying we're going to be going back into all sorts of things. I would say when I look at this, there's more optimism than despair. And then we get towards the 8th, 9th, 10th. You're looking at the middle here, the top row, the Page of Cups. Yes, there are some surprises, but the surprises to me, by the time you get to around by the 15th for sure, everything is in hand. Everything is in command. Everything is back. And that's the Strength card. Everything is back and where it needs to be in placement. And then if you look at the next symbol, which is at the end of the top row, the Three of Cups, this is happiness. Now, the one thing I didn't mention, that Queen of Pentacles is often around the material world and around money. And so I know a lot of things are happening with money out there right now. And so this sort of shows some of the elements of this, but it's very containable, very controllable. Nothing's out of control here. Nothing is where, oh my goodness, what on earth is going on? It's when we hit into probably more into the late teens, early 20s, and we come down to the next row where we've got two swords. We've got the Three of Swords with the Ace of Cups in the middle, followed by the Six of Swords. Three of Swords is disappointment. Disappointment, sad, all those kind of things. But the Ace of Cups, and I see this really in the middle of the 20s, is hope, is new ideas, new thoughts, new awarenesses. And so consequently, what happens with the Six as we get closer towards the end of the 20s of September is that we're able to move beyond all the complaints, so to speak. So we're moving forward. We're not there yet, but we're getting there. And then the bottom card here is the Four of Cups, which shows you're sitting looking and going, this is it. And it's saying, oh no, there's more coming. And I'm going to put that because I'm going to show the cards up as they come up. One of the things I like about this is when we look at the Higher Arcana cards, which is always the spiritual law, the spiritual awareness, the spiritual element, what we've got here is the Fool and Strength too. But the Fool has faith, moving ahead. Strength is they deal with what's there. You're dealing with your life. There's no wands which show the ideas or the concepts, but the cups with the Page, which is an attitude of handling surprises. The Three, we're happy. And the Ace of Cups, one of my favorite all-time card, was one here, right in the middle, sitting right in the middle. changing of attitude, changing of awareness as it moves through. And then at the just below it, actually, that whole row is cups, page of cups, ace of cups, and down to the four of cups. Four of cups can be a little stodgy. So by the end of September, maybe things, it's like not really looking at what else is happening or what else is changing. I think with the swords, with the 3 and the 6, which are on both sides of the queen, the ace of cups, we have disappointment, but it's worked out. And that's what I like here. Again, we see things working out. You know, this last couple of months, it was like there was no flow. There was everything was kind of Whereas this month, it feels very much like things are in a flow. They're back to movement. Now we know September, coming into fall, back to school, back often people who have been on holidays, back to work, things kind of settle down. So that I just feel that there's a movement here, that there is a change. Now, my concern, I'll be honest, my concern is about some of the rumors that are circulating about things that are going on is that sometimes it sounds like they want to take us back to where we were a couple of years ago. And that they all know now that didn't work and it's not needed. It's not feasible. Well, some people know. Other people, of course, want to just make sure that we just, that's where we are. But what I see here is possibility. What I see here is the strength of being, and this whole thing, if you just look at it as movement, you've got, where am I going here? You've got the Fool, which is movement forward. You've got the 3 of Cups at the other end here, which is dancing and happy. You've got the 6 of Swords, which is down a little further, and that's movement. So you've got movement this month of September. And this to me is absolutely phenomenal because we need movement. And so it has an element of flow. It has a story to tell. It has a story of being aware and not getting caught up in too much despair. I think the only thing I see here is that people could go into despair around those 20s. You know, oh no, here we go again. And it says, change your attitude. Be different, be aware, moving in a whole different sense as you move forward. And so for me, it's very heartwarming because I know, oh, good, movement. Movement is better than no movement. Because if we're stagnant, everything dies, you know, it just crumples and we don't know where we're heading. And there's movement, there's faith, there's strength. There's a sense of hope, a new attitude, awareness, a movement of direction, things being offered, which we may or may not take. But it's like, I don't know. I just felt good about it when I looked at that. So I also wanted to share some news with you today. Some of you were aware back a few months ago that I went and had some surgery on my arm. I did make a comment about it, that I'd had surgery on my arm and I had a whole lot of stitches in my arm. Well, that was because I had been diagnosed with a melanoma. And they had assured me that the melanoma had been caught. Everything was good. All the edges were fine. And so, you know, but what I discovered within a few weeks that it was growing back. To make a long story short at this point, that we contacted the surgeon and unfortunately didn't act on our information really fast. So by the time I got to the surgeon, he said, I can't operate on this. It's too big. It's too much. There's not enough flesh there for me to put it together. And he was quite frantic all about it. So basically the bottom line is that I have now been cancer clinic. Had the good news is there's very good news here. It's only in this arm. It's not everywhere else. So yesterday we had a long day because we had a crash of rocks on our main highway north, because our cancer clinic is in Kelowna and I live in Penticton, which is about an hour and a half approximately south. And so to get there, I left home at 6:00 and picked up my friend and we drove to get to this appointment I had with the radiation department at 9:00 in the morning, 9:30 in the morning. I can be very determined when I want to be. And I wanted to get to the bottom of what was going to happen next, because this thing is growing frantically. It's avaricious, actually. And so, to make a long story short, we got now have a date when I'm going to, they're going to do a CAT scan on it to find out where it is. So, and then we'll immediately be doing radiation treatments, and there'll be one every other day for 3 days. And now the thing is this: normally I can book things around my own schedule, because on the whole, I'm doing fine. As you see me every day, I always say I have 3 shows. I'm going to be ready for those. And usually when I'm on my shows, my arm doesn't seem to affect me, other than I can get tired or whatever, but mostly no, it's fine. So, but what there will be sometimes coming up when I may not be able to be in a show. And I was thinking, okay, how do we let people know that? Number one is I can put it on my Facebook page. Not that I use my Facebook page very often, besides putting up pictures of flowers and stuff, but I can put there. And the second thing is I can do a short and just say, there will be no this day. That just means I'm in wherever I'm in, because besides doing the radiation, I'm also doing what they call immunology, which is a type of that's done in Penticton, so I don't have to go all the way up to Kelowna. The radiation will be probably completed by the end of September, because it's only basically once they do my body scan and figure it all out, I have 3 visits. That's it, 3 times every other day. So it'll be a week. And that week it could be a bit erratic. But then the immunology is right here in Penticton, and it's like once every 4 weeks. So, and that goes on for much longer. But the results that they have found for people like myself have been very good. And so that pleases me, because I've tried all sorts of natural things, and this thing doesn't touch it. So we got to go you might say the traditional route in all ways. But I did want to let you know exactly what was happening to me, because there are times when I know when I'm a little bit more tired, and maybe not, and maybe I am beginning to drop a little bit of weight and things like that. But on the whole is that I'm very optimistic. I feel very good about what we have decided to do. I have 2 doctors that seem to be really up on everything. And I have what they call a wound clinic here in Penticton, who dress my wound, look after it, because it looks pretty yucky at the moment, actually. So it's like we all have obstacles. But, as I said earlier, this Ace of Cups is my symbol. And that is the embracing of the law of love. That is the embracing of the energy, the whole element. And at the beginning, when all this began to happen, I was like, I just really didn't know which way to turn, because I've always followed a lot of natural products and natural health, spent a lot of money on doing that, and which has helped me tremendously. But this was different, and I wasn't sure which way to go. So I didn't jump in right away on all the treatments that they're offering, because I wanted to assimilate it. And so now I am totally ready to accept, move through, and go with what I want, because I really believe you practice what you teach. You don't just say words for words' sake. But it's like a knowingness that someone said to me that, hey, are you nervous about this? Are you frightened about this? And I said, no, I really am not. It's a procedure. We'll go through, see how it goes. It may be good days, bad days, in between days. But the reality is I get to practice my philosophy. I get to be at one with knowing that my highest and best is always being activated. Always being activated. The pluses, as I've said already, this is only in my arm. Very often when people have things like this, it travels into their whole body. And that was their original concern, but it is not. So yes, your prayers, your good thoughts, your continued, what can you say, support of my work, because I will, when I'm here, I will be here. And if I can't be, because I have to be at a treatment or something, and so because my times are pretty clearly defined when I am on air, I will let you know. I will keep you apprised of this. And I know that some people knew what was happening, but most didn't. And because I wasn't ready to share, because I just wanted to see, I wanted to get all the information first. And now I have it. And I do know, like on the 11th, I go up and get measured for the radiation treatment. And probably the following or the week after, that week, I may not be able to do shows. We'll see. Other than that, we continue on. And so today is Norma Talks. And then come Sunday will be a Sunday Thought. And we'll just go back to the regular programming of being. And as I said, please give lots of good thoughts and everything. I am absolutely fired about this reading for September. Now, who knows what October will bring, but there's movement here. And we have not seen movement in the cards for 2 months. The month before that, there was some movement and I was quite happy, but it just clammed down. And I think that's a part of the struggle that is happening right now in the world. You know, people who have had power and people who may be wanting power or wanting a different kind of power, all struggling in many, many different ways. I definitely think there's a little bit going on about the money aspect and what's happening with that as we're changing concepts of how money works. So there's lots to consider and lots to put in. But oh boy, when I look down at the symbology here and I see the joy, I see the faith, I see dealing with life with only this little bit of disappointment there. And yet even that gets resolved. So lots of changes, lots of growth, lots of becoming who you are and what you are. So I want to thank you for your continued support. I really love your comments. For those of you that comment, the subscriptions that are coming in, the growth patterning of you might say my work, my beliefs of what they are and how long that they've been. So I really want to thank you so much for that. So a shorter one today. I say not unusual. I'm usually a little bit longer on this, but I wanted to make sure that people knew what was happening in case something changed and I couldn't be here right when I'm supposed to be, because I know some of you are waiting, like Monday nights, you wait for me for 7 o'clock when I'm on, because I'm here waiting for 7 o'clock very patiently to start my mental mind treatments, or a Sunday Thought with 9 o'clock in the morning, like today, Wednesday is 9 o'clock. We wait till 9, then I put it up. So it's like, and they're live. I do everything live right now, which is a little bit more complicated in some ways, but it's easier. I really want to thank for those of you that comments. Maggie G, thank you. And she says, have a wonderful day. Oh, and I'm going to have a great day. And she also says, I'm in her prayers. Oh, we'll be well. I agree with that. And then I share too. Thank you. I always have trouble with your name. I apologize for that. My memory isn't always as good as it used to be. But then again, the aging process attacks us all sometimes. And that's one of the ones, is the memory element. I'm just going to close off by saying I love you all. I wish you well. I will be back on Sunday with a Sunday Thought. And I want you to have this coming up to this long weekend as we come on into September. Just enjoy, give thanks for the beautiful life that you have within your world. And thank you, Yvonne. You all make a difference in my life. I get tears in my eyes on this, so I'm going to say, before I start crying, I'm going to close and say, I'll see you on Sunday. Thank you. Blessings to you all.